It's good to see them back. Yes, the House of Black and Jon Moxley are all back, as we saw on AEW Collision, which I'd say overall was pretty good. Not a great addition Collision, but it was pretty solid. But it was mostly about, or you could say all about, the House of Black returning and, causing chaos throughout Collision, and 3 big matches on the show from, post the dream match per se with Andrade, Idolo, and Bryan Danielson, and then the events after, House of Black has returned to stake their claim on Collision again, which is obviously great for AEW and Collision. And it's good to see, because I think we all miss Malachi Black and Buddy Matthews, of course. I mean, we have seen Brody King managing Julia Hart, but, Julia, by the way, congrats to her and Lee Johnson on getting married. And, but of course now, Buddy's healthy, Black is healthy, Brody King is healthy, so it's great to see. But we're up here to talk about those, and, the dream match, again, I'm guessing it was billed as that, but it was still a very good match between Andrade and Bryan Danielson. So, here we go overall, but thank you all for joining me. Before we begin, you guys know, with the subscription, click on like, subscribe for channel. Thank you guys for the views and whatnot. It's always good to talk about wrestling and sports and whatnot. So yeah, thank you guys. Let's get started then, shall we? So, I mentioned House of Black and Jon Moxley were pretty much the big ones. Moxley obviously was hurt on that, debacle versus Ray Phoenix, and he was supposed to return in time to face Phoenix, and instead walked in Orange Cassidy, and which I imagine will be a rematch of sorts at Full Gear. So there's that. We'll see. I did not watch Battle of the Belts. Did see clips and did see the highlights. Seemed like it was okay. Battle of the Belts have not been great, all in all. Here's the thing. It feels like the secondary titles are mostly defended on, or matches that don't really have any meaning. There's not a lot of build when it comes to Battle of the Belts. But, if it drew rings, if it was quality show, good. I'll have to rewatch some of the videos. But as far as Collision was quality show. So let's start with at the top with Bryan Danielson and Andrade El Idolo. We knew right off the bat, just from the bird's eye view, that this match is going to be good. You know, again, Bryan, supposedly, we'll see, will be going part-time after next year. So, try to make the most of his last full-time year in AEW. And again, here with Andrade, it was a very good match. I'm sure it was joyful for Andrade. They met before in WWE, but years later, they used to meet again. That was fun to see. So, start off with some chain wrestling, and then this gave some chops back and forth in the corner. After Andrade went for it looked like a superplex off the top, but Bryan powered out, hit the yes kicks on Andrade, you could pretty much say. And then Andrade fired back by targeting the leg multiple times with some leg whips. Bryan then followed up with a cradle for a near fall. So they were in the corner. Bryan was in a tree of woe position, and Andrade hit the big double stomps off the top, and then running knees in the corner for two. Bryan then locked in the label lock, but kudos for Andrade to endure and roll through to capture the figure four. Went into the figure eight, but Bryan got to the ropes. And then they exchanged some cradles and near falls back and forth before Bryan finally walked on the crucifix and stacked up Andrade for the win. So good stuff there. Afterwards, now, if there was a critique about House of Black, numerous times and doing their attacks on Collision, and it's a running gig many times with AEW. I think some may agree that the lights going out, the first time, that was very good. So, Malachi Black came out behind Bryan, did the Black Mass roundhouse kick, caught Bryan to the face, and then lights go out, and after Claudio and Yuta ran out for the save, and then after he was gone. The first time was good, But I will have to say, after a numerous amount of times, it loses its lore and authenticity and excitement. And we saw it numerous times. But the first time we saw it was fun. So right off the bat, you think, okay, Bryan, Blackpool Comic Club, Malachi, House Black. That's a great feud ensuing. And it's kind of interesting that we go from House of Black or Malachi Black attacking Bryan Danielson to Skye Blue, who we've seen make a bit of a character change. Not much, but a bit of a change in her demeanor since getting missed in the eyes by Julia Hart. She has makeup, she has dark, rundown of the eyes. It's different, and we can tell, with her behavior, it's changed a bit. So, she went one-on-one with Hollywood Haley J, who been in the news mostly for... So, there's a series called The Wrestlers, and, apparently she tried out for WWE before. She's been on many podcasts, whether it's Kenny Bolin, I think. Seen her on Rip Rogers' podcast. We've seen her on Cafe de Rene Dupree's podcast. We've seen her on many podcasts. So, she's been making noise, and, it's one of those things where, AEW, she may find, or they may find something in her in which AEW, or excuse me, WWE probably didn't. That's just a thought. But, yeah, I believe it was because of epilepsy that they probably didn't sign her. If I had to guess, at least that's why I heard. But anyway, she went here with Skye Blue, and this wasn't a squash match really. This got, I would say, a decent amount of time. Haley J, she got some offense in. Skye Blue, she's not as the energetic, girl next door, fun-loving, babyface girl she used to be before Julia Hart. So she won here with the, guess you could call it the code blue. Since it's Skye Blue, not the code red. But she got the win here. And yeah, there you go. So, yeah, it's one of those things, with Julia going on her honeymoon, perhaps with, or so it seems with Lee Johnson, perhaps we see Skye Blue maybe join the ranks in the future of the House of Black. It's a thought. But I would say nice little showing of Haley J. I have to see more of her, I guess, really digest if she's really good wrestler, but we'll see. So we got the guns. Well, I'll also say, so call her Hollywood Haley, and also for the AEW Women's Division, building up, say, Skye Blue, building up, they got to build up more stars, certainly, for the Women's Division. We'll see. So, we had the Guns versus the Outrunners. So, yeah, the Guns entrance, specifically a part of Bullet Club Gold. This match is certainly great. Or the entrance, at least, certainly great. So, just simple. We've seen the Outrunners, a few times. Yeah, a few times. And, they certainly have a way about them, I would say. Their gimmick is, I would say, funny and maybe a little cheesy, but it's enjoyable. But match wasn't much here. We got 310 to Yuma by the Guns for win. So they were out there with Jay White, and who still has the Triple B. So thing is, afterwards, so it's been a while since we've seen any clue of the masked guys or the masked men with MJF's mask that attacked Jay White numerous weeks ago. So afterwards, we cut to a thing on the big screen, and it showed presumably the guy that was wearing MJ's mask weeks ago, looking into a mirror, and it cut off. So now, it's just my perceptive. He looked more muscular, if I had to guess. So, I don't know if the guy who was initially under the mask weeks ago was that same guy. I'm curious. I don't know, but you'll see when the actual reveal happens. But we'll see. It's a little inkling, certainly. So we got Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander backstage. So it was announced that Chris Statlander was going to face Will Nightingale at Battle of the Belts for TBS title. I presume was going to match. And then we also heard that Orange Cassidy was going to face John Silvers for the international title. So, Chris Allo was irate because she needed to get ready. So, sometimes we see her, bench or like squat someone with her on her shoulders. And sometimes that's Renee Paquette. So she asked Lexi Nair, who's there, if she could, get her on her shoulder and squat her. So that's what she did. They basically asked Orange if he was ready, and he said, yeah, whatever. So yeah. But I did see a clip of. So, which it's really nuts for them to announce it on Battle of the Belts. So, speaking of Orange Cassidy, so it was announced that after his match, so he announced that it got a little ugly with him in the Blackpool Comic Club. So he said if his buddies Bryan and Claudio want to fight, he said, why don't they fight him and Okada Wednesday in Philadelphia? And it was announced Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli versus Orange Cassidy and Kazuchika Okada on Dynamite. Kazuchika Okada. Free on AEW TV. His first free AEW match ever so far. Yeah. That's plus, definitely the most excited I've been for an Orange Cassidy match, I would say. We'll be getting Ryan and Okada in the ring together again. We'll get Claudio and Okada in the ring again, which, I believe the Blackpool Comic Club, before Bryan faced Okada, I think it was at Dominion, where they face Ishii, Okada, and Tanahashi for trios titles for New Japan Strong. So, I believe it was Claudio, there's a guy, and Moxley, which, just those two together, that's a good match in of itself. So, yeah. Excited for that one on Wednesday. Now, this was a obviously strange part of the show, I would say. So, we had a Memphis street fight. It was Eddie Kingston and Jeff Jarrett. Or first Jeff Jarrett, Memphis street fight, and if Jeff Jarrett were to win, Eddie Kingston would give Jeff or Jay Lethal a Ring of Honor World title shot. So it's basically a Ring of Honor World title eliminator in a way. So strange match implication. I mean, I think people will agree that, you know, AEW already has enough titles. So, I mean, whenever you see, you know, the Ring of Honor title stuff, it is a bit much for people. Not denying that Eddie Kingston and Jay Lethal will be a fun match. But, you know, for AEW TV, it does seem a bit much. So, anyway, we got the street fight here. So, there's condiments involved, mustard, Jeff Jarrett, and the game mustard. There was a guitar that was, you know, in Sonam Singh's face. You know, there was a table, there was some steps, trash can, which, by the way, Eddie Kingston did a weird spot where he's bashing his head with it. He was wearing an Eli Manning jersey because the New Yorker, Eddie Kingston, and when he thought he had the match won here with a back fist, but was broken up. So basically, it was melee at the end. So Sonam Singh got a choke slam on Kingston. Jeff Jarrett followed up with a stroke, and then Jay Lethal hit the lethal injection cutter on Kingston 1, 2, 3, and that was it. No one came out to help Eddie Kingston throughout all this mess. No one. Really? I'm just a bit confused by that. It's just, I have to say, I mean, really? It was basically like a 5-on-1. Eddie Kingston first, you know, versus Jarrett Lethal, Karen, who slapped him numerous times in the match. Sanjay and Sonam Singh. That's 5, first one. So, I mean, anyway, and it was no DQ, so. Anyway, we're going to get Eddie Kingston for Jay Lethal sometime. Good match. So we got Andretti versus Miro. So, little bit of story, I'd say. So last week, CJ Perry made it known, Miro's wife, made it known that she was looking to manage someone in AEW, just not her husband. So she had a message last week, and Andrade came up to her and basically said it would be, great if she can manage him, and said he's one call away. And later was shown that, Miro had attacked Andrade for basically making it known that, offering up to Miro's wife. So Andrade, we know the story. So he's the one who upset Chris Jericho. But after, he didn't really do anything. So it feels like him after being Jericho, he's been a almost enhancement Ring of Honor kind of talent. However, I can see they're trying to give him some build, something within either Trios division or every once in a while for Collision. So here I get it, because I think a mouthpiece would be quite essential for Andretti. But so we got the match with Miro. Andretti had a good amount of offense. He did slip through a game over by Miro. And there were a couple points where they were trying to make you believe where he was going to win. I think the crowd probably didn't buy into it much, but he did have a good amount of offense. He did have 450. He did. The biggest pop for him was when he lifted up Miro in like a torture rack position. Miro did fire back. He had a Moxy kick, big thrust kick to Andretti, and then locked in the game over. And then Andretti had tap out. And yeah, Miro got it done. And his wife was clapping on. So, there you go. So, it's weird. It's been a couple weeks. So, I mean, hopefully they're back on with this Miro and his wife's story. I mean, that's the thing with, with the titles being in weird places on AEW. Miro and a good story would certainly help. And with his wife and this progressing thing, we'll see. So, now this was a segment that got more notoriety or more notice I think people thought it would. Simply because of what happened at the end. So we had Anna J, Matt Menard, Angelo Parker, and Daniel Garcia. They're all backstage because the three were set to challenge. Excuse me. They were set to challenge, were set to challenge the Acclaimed for the Trio Styles Saturday night at Battle of the Belts. So they asked because in the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal on Dynamite, there was a bit of dissension between Daniel Garcia and Matt Menard, in which Matt Menard was eliminated by Daniel Garcia. So Anna Jay was pissed, knowing that, and accused Lexi of trying to cause friction within the group. So they were mad. Menard was trying to tell a joke, but Garcia didn't have it. So eventually they walked off. And then Lexi Nair said that next up for an interview, Ruby Soho. So Ruby stopped Angelo Parker, who was left. So Ruby was like, family problems. And then Parker was like, yeah, they're falling apart. And then Ruby said, I know the feeling. And then they were like looking at each other different way. And then Parker was like, but at least after tonight, I can call myself a champion. So then Ruby said, that's sweet. Now get out of my shot. So Parker was like, with a smug smile on his face, was like, okay. So Lexi was like, what's going on here? So Ruby smiled and she was like, yeah, that reminds me of some phony stuff going on here in the AEW, but she's here and she plans to take care of Sheeta. And now on Wednesday, she's going to face Sheeta in which they announce Sheeta versus Solo on Wednesday for the women's title. Why? Just a little curious as, I mean, should be a good match, but Ruby, she did beat Skye Blue on Rampage, apparently, and all of a sudden she's getting a title shot. I mean, non-title matches are okay. I'm just going to say that. But yeah, the tension with Ruby Soho and Parker got a lot of traction from people. So yeah. We got FTR. So said that FTR was going to be back in action. This wasn't really a match though. So they faced two, I didn't catch their names, but match didn't go long because, again, the House of Black made their presence known. And now this was the case, I think people can say, where you got the blackout many times. So, Malachi Black interrupted the match, and then the lights go black out again, and then come back on, and then we see Buddy and Brody King. So, I mean, right there, numbers advantage. It was great to see. So, apparently, Nigel McGuinness said that Brody now has a cast. Supposedly, his hand and wrist is taped up really well for his right hand, and written on the wrist tape, I believe it's called Death. So, yeah, it's great to see those three back in action. So, yeah, they're targeting, Blackpool Comic Club, FTR. Yeah, numerous foes. So then, speaking of Blackpool Comic Club, we got the main event. Claudio and Yuta versus Big Bill and Ricky Starks for the AEW World Tag Team titles. It was a good match. To wrap up, I have to also say Tony Schiavone as play-by-play announcer. It's a unique listen. When I was born in Monday Night Wars, I mostly watched Raw or WWE and SmackDown as opposed to WCW or Nitro. So, I mean, I would hear it every once in a while, but I didn't really watch prime Tony Schiavone. Seeing him here or hearing him here for Collision, it's definitely different. So, yeah, the match is good. The funny spot here in this match, so get to it in a sec. So, Starks, he drove Claudio into the steps. Big Bill hit a big boss man slam on Warrior for 2. Claudio, so we know one of... It's funny, so first, Ricky has his own version of The Undertaker's Old School, where he has struts on the top rope. Claudio to start, he basically mocked Ricky to his face for mocking, or I wouldn't say mocking, but his own innovation. So there you go. So Claudio hit a big uppercut on a 2 for a 2. Then Claudio hit a number of uppercuts and followed up on the outside. Bill, back from break, after it got chaotic, he had a big, throw. I call it a power bomb in the ring for a near fall. Because Bill wasn't a legal man, Starks shoved him out of the way for the pin. So, next thing, referee was distracted. House of Black again. They attack Claudio, leaving him on the outside. Starks hit a Rochambeau and a spear on Yuta for the win. And they retained the AEW World Tag Team titles. So afterwards, a big brawl ensued with BCC, House Black, Bill, Starks, and FTR. And all of a sudden, we hear wild things, and Jon Moxley is back. I assume he's fully healthy, and even the odds for the good guys here. So, it was kind of funny. So, the heels were on the outside. Ricky was prepared to go back in the ring. I assume he thought he had to help out House Black. That was not the case, as he was there by himself against his foes. And funny spot. So, going towards the end of the show, Claudio hit the big swing on Ricky Starks as Wild Things is playing. I mean, I would say a bit hilarious. And I was upset saying that Claudio, credit, he was probably exhausted, dizzy in his own right, but I was hoping Claudio would still be swinging Starks by the end of the show. That was not the case, but either way, it was hilarious. But yeah, Collision, really the House of Black causing chaos, showcasing their return. Good stuff. So we shall see what's next. But the House of Black in action, great stuff. In line for some very good matches going forward. We'll see. But yeah, that was Collision review for you folks. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Did as well. See you guys back for Dynamite review for Thursday. And then, of course, my Collision review again next week. So keep up with that, guys. But thank y'all. Again, subscribe, like button, thumbs up. Thank you guys. See you guys next time. Peace.